Hello, everyone, and welcome to Kacho On, a Game Center CX podcast. This is episode 2. I am Jackson, and joining me is Sam.
Your co-host.
Yep.
As always, Jackson, quick question before we get started. We were at a rave last night. After a certain point, I don't really remember what happened. I just want to make sure nothing untoward happened between the two of us.
I think I hit you in the head really hard with a lead pipe.
That's fine. I'm also okay with kissing and light petting.
I'm privy to hitting you with the lead pipe again pretty soon.
Most days you are.
Okay, so today we're going to be talking about Season 2, Episode 2 of Game Center CX. This time focusing on the Hudson Soft game, Challenger. This game is from October of 1985 in Japan. Never released over here, yet again.
Really?
This is another case where I don't mind.
Yeah, no.
Another game that I probably never want to play in my entire life.
Oh, this one especially.
Really? More than the last one?
Yeah, God.
This game I thought looked more fun.
I feel like I could beat the last game, Mystery of Atlantis.
Really?
Fairly easily. Tojima speed, not Areno speed.
Right.
Uh,
This one feels more, less torturous, I guess. It feels like there's some rhyme or reason.
Well, we'll get to that in a second. Why don't you talk about what the game's about? What it is?
It's an action platform video game developed by Hudson Soft, I said, and it was for the Famicom, also known as the NES, Nintendo Entertainment System, here in America.
That's right. Now, from what I can tell, as someone who just watched a middle-aged Japanese man play through the entirety of this game, from what I can tell is there's 4 separate sections to this game.
Mm-hmm. They're called zones.
Zones.
Yeah.
One of them is over in a blink of an eye.
Yeah. One of them is a complete overworld.
Right. Yeah.
Picture picture Zelda 2, where there's a top-down overworld, and then the levels are side-scrolling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, but then the levels are what? The caves?
I guess.
And the train at the beginning?
Yeah, and at the like final screen. You know, as we said, this game isn't formatted very well, but I think that is what it is. That is what we're looking at here.
As we said last episode, it's a game indicative of its era in terms of game design. Took a lot of chances in this instance. Not many of them paid off. Just a frustrating mess, in my opinion.
Because this is a. Oh no, I'm wrong. I forgot that the Famicom came out 2 years sooner in Japan. I was going to say this is an early Famicom game, but it's not. Frankly, it's not.
Okay.
Moving on.
So this is Areno's first episode without Tojima, as he addresses at the top of the episode directly.
They kind of show the scene from the last episode, right?
Yes, and then he says the words, "I wonder if I will be okay without Tojima."
Sasano crying in the corner.
Right.
He already hates me. I haven't even done anything.
He's 100% in the room, too. I know it.
Have you ever played this game?
I've never played this game.
Have you heard of it?
No.
Me neither.
Not outside the context of this show.
But I feel like they say in the show that the opening train scene is famous, and I feel like I've seen it. It's like very vaguely somewhere.
Really?
It just looks, maybe it's referencing something, or maybe it looks like something from another game I'm thinking of.
There's a lot of stuff. You're more diligent about this than I am. There's a lot of stuff that Areno will reference in passing really quickly, and I'll think I can't be bothered to do a deep dive into that.
Mm-hmm.
For example, a Japanese game show that ran for 4 years in the 90s. As came up last episode.
Okay, but the title of that one, you can't blame me.
Yeah, it was so good.
Go listen to that one if you haven't.
It was like
a funny joke.
Clickbait title of a TV show.
That's kind of how a lot of Japanese stuff is, like isekai manga and anime.
Right. Yeah.
Can I become a level 500 warlord in an evil slime dungeon or something like that? That's how they all are.
What?
Do you know why that is?
Hold on. I had one. Is like. No, okay, you go. No, I don't know why.
It's because statistically, the manga that sell the best that aren't like the big, huge shonen manga are ones that have a pretty thorough summary in the title like that, because it's easy for the potential reader, to read the name and understand what it's about. Which is funny considering that the actual most popular, manga are very obtuse in their naming. Like One Piece, Dragon Ball, Naruto is just a name. Fist of the North Star.
I feel like a lot of this is how many of those were in Shonen Jump. I feel like maybe it can be contributed.
What, these isekai?
Out of the ones you just mentioned.
Yeah. Well, of course.
I feel like it contributes to
if it's not Shonen Jump.
Of...
Yeah, if it's not Shonen Jump, these are statistically the ones that are most likely to get bought.
Oh, even outside those, or outside of Shonen Jump. Okay, wow.
No, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about outside of the huge ones, because everyone's, you've probably heard of most everything that's running in Shonen Jump right now.
Yeah.
Even the quote unquote more obscure ones, like stuff like Kaiju Number 8. I'm sure you've heard of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in lesser publications.
That is interesting. I was shocked when you said that. It's really just fucking marketing analysis.
Yeah, it is.
And that's the reason the title of this series has 30 words in it. That's crazy.
Yeah. Anyway, big tangent from last episode.
Oh jeez, what the hell were we talking about? Yeah.
We're talking about this game Challenger, which starts with a thing that
the train scene. Yeah.
It's a game design kind of thing here that I feel like is very what's the word I'm looking for? Contemporary for now, which is you go and you have to survive for a bit on the top of this train, and then you go into one of the cabins, and you lose, quote unquote. You get kicked out of the train. And it even kind of plays a pseudo death animation for your character.
It's a prototype, not prototype, but what's the word?
Like a scripted loss.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's
like a lot of RPGs do, where you're supposed to, you're even if you can win,
you're a predecessor of that.
Yeah.
For narrative purposes.
Which I feel like in 1985 is really surprising to see.
Mm-hmm. That was the year.
That's the year this game came out.
95?
Yeah. Oh, did I say that? I meant 85.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry. No, they weren't releasing Famicom games in 95, I don't think.
Maybe the last one.
Yeah. Like how the last Wii game was in 2020 or something.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Did I know what?
The last Wii game was in 2019, 2020.
Whoa.
It was a Just Dance game.
I was going to guess that.
Yeah.
Honest to God, I was going to guess that.
Yeah.
Before the first scene, actually, we learned that there are 16 difficulty levels.
Oh, yeah.
What do you imagine happens at each of those difficulty levels?
I mean, you mean with each little incremental one?
Do you think at difficulty level 1 you have 16 hit points and every enemy does 1 damage to you? And then at difficulty 16 you have 1 hit point and everybody does 16 damage to you? I guess that doesn't make sense, huh? But what is the function here?
I'd like to imagine it's some kind of nuance where with every one maybe enemies go a little faster or they do a little more damage or something, but I can't see that for a game of this ilk.
No.
I think it maybe is just you take more damage, or maybe a combination of that and you do less damage.
But 16 different variations of that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Absolute insanity.
It's
a choice.
Yeah.
It's a choice. I feel like this game is half baked. Okay. So
no doubt.
We've got that opening train sequence, that little side scrolling platformer bit where you get to where you're going, and then the main villain, whose name I wrote down, and I am going to say right now, Waludardo.
Yes. That's so funny. Waludardo.
Kicks you out of the train.
Mm-hmm. And he's like a bandit or something?
He's some sort of... He looks like evil Zorro.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. It's a good way of putting it.
Yeah. And then you wind up in this overworld that has just about nothing,
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion. It's just a bunch of fucking nothing to explore. And it's massive. So you have really a bunch of fucking nothing.
It looks like a pretty obvious rip of like what it was before, like the Legend of Zelda Overworld. But it did come before.
It did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Zelda was 87 or 86. But yeah, it's a similar vein. Just enemies always coming at you.
Yeah. And you explore it, and what you're hoping to find are these caves.
Mm-hmm.
To find the Deus Ex Machina you need, the MacGuffins.
The items.
To unlock the...
They're literally called the key items, right?
Yeah, to unlock the final cave.
Mm-hmm.
Which is where you will find, I'm going to say his name again, Warudardo.
And he stole a girl.
He stole a girl. He's a girl stealer, this Waru guy.
Yep.
And that's the game.
Yeah. It's pretty simple, but it doesn't look fun somehow.
It looks like there was a bunch more they wanted to do with it. And I'm being generous here. It looks like there was a bunch more they wanted to do with it and just didn't.
Yeah.
Didn't have time.
Didn't have money.
Just didn't.
Yeah.
Slept in.
Realized that they're in over their head. Maybe they ran out of space on the game card, right? Because they were only allowed like 5 megabytes.
There's that too.
But very early on in this episode, basically right when we get the conceit of the game, is my first and I think my only for this episode Arena Y moment.
Yeah.
Arena Y. That's one of our segments, everyone.
Arena Y.
Where he just does something so boneheaded and just ridiculous. I don't know if his brain works at all times. It probably doesn't. But so there's he finds a door that's immediately interesting to him because it's a door, and there's been no doors thus far. And there's a little dancing skeleton named Kara that's wobbling back and forth around the door, and he keeps throwing his knives at it, and it's clearly not doing anything. It's not making a sound. It doesn't have any sort of visual register. But it's kind of shimmying like in and out of the way of the door, but by a very slim margin. And so he tries to sneak in past it, which the thing is moving way too fast for that to be feasible. But he tries it, he dies.
Of course he does.
And then he respawns, goes back to where that is, tries it like probably 3 more times.
Oh my god.
Tries to sneak past the skeleton before he's like, I should probably do something else. It's just like... Anyone can see by looking at this thing, just based on how slow his character is, you can't get through that.
I love the thinking that it's like, oh, I messed up. I fucked up this improbable plan of mine. I better try it 3 more fucking times.
But I have to circle back to that later in this episode.
So, I mean, are we doing all of the Arena Ys right now? Because mine are throughout the episode.
Yeah, I like to just go in the chronology of the episode. That's what all my notes are like, and I imagine yours too.
So I think I know what you're saying. All right, then, yeah.
I really don't have much more on this episode, on the challenge itself, and like until the Tamage. How about you?
I wrote down that it's okay. One, you can see Arena reach despair, a state of despair. I'm going to take that again in case that was a problem. So the thing about this episode for me is that you can see Arena reach a state of despair really early on, where it's just, and...
no cooling pad, though. Not till late.
No cooling pad yet, yeah.
So not as mentally and physically taxing as Mystery of Atlantis. Not immediately, at least.
He's just...
He hates this game as much as we do.
What's the famous phrase from later in the series? His smile and optimism.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
He doesn't want to be playing this game. It looks
no.
like. What's more is it just felt like such a slog to watch too, and Reno does his best to make it interesting, both on purpose and on accident through his style of gameplay.
Yeah. I mean, this episode was significantly longer than the first one too, right?
Yes.
Even though the full game time was shorter, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
But I feel like they padded it with so much of
the segments,
yeah.
Which I'm thankful for in this episode, because
2 arcade segments, a trip to go meet
some guy,
Famicom Complete Man.
Yeah, okay. Kuboken,
and just a bunch of stuff. What are they called? The game collection stuff.
What are they called?
You had a better name for it. When they're like,
oh, the like ads, just the ad
Yeah.
breaks for like Famicom games. Yeah.
They had so many of those.
Yeah, they did. Which, I mean, probably comes with it being a longer runtime. I think first episode was 43 minutes, and I think this was 57.
Well, sure, but doesn't that contribute to it?
You're right, but I'm saying if before those are being added, there's going to be more
You're right.
spaces for breaks.
Okay, you're right. Yeah, they did have more segments to pad, so.
Yeah. That's kind of when they do it, right? They squeeze it in between segments?
Yeah.
Would they transition? Yeah, that makes sense. I didn't even think about that before.
So, you know, it has a functional purpose. It has a function.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't really have a lot until the Tamage as well. I did note during one of those ads for those games. Did you see the game Formation Z?
Yes.
It's where you're a robot man that you're
turns into a
transformer.
jet.
Yes.
Dude, that game looks cool.
That one actually looked cool.
He looked like Ultraman.
Yeah.
Running on the ground, shooting lasers and stuff. That looked cool.
I like that one. Yeah.
There's one that was also like, oh man, I can't remember what it's called, like Battle something. And you're like a weird little like space rover with a spinning satellite dish on its head that you're doing like tactical missions. That game looks cool.
Yeah, it was.
So, I mean, I guess as you can see, these ad breaks are working.
Yeah.
Because we're here wanting to play these games.
2025.
Yeah.
You know?
22 years after airing.
But yeah, a bunch of nothing happens. He gets kicked off the train. He starts looking for caves. He starts running into enemies as an honest-to-God game plan. It's much ado about nothing.
To be fair, the system mechanics of this game are very frustrating to watch. Like, to unlock the better sword that's pretty temporary, you have to kill 4 enemies in a row, but you can't pick up the sword because you'll get hurt. You have to throw your knife at any item you find to pick it up.
It's true.
I can't stand that.
No, it's...
You get hurt for trying to use your character's physical form to pick up an item.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and they committed what I imagine had to be the cardinal sin of game design back then. They made the A button shoot and the B button jump.
Areno couldn't get over that.
I started playing Tomba last night or the night before, and I was playing it with my kids. I pass the controller. I'm like, hey, you play for a bit. You jump on these pigs. And they're having so much trouble because it was a game from the PlayStation. We're playing it on the Switch. And so the B button is confirmed and the A button is canceled.
Yeah.
And why can't I jump, Daddy? Why can't I throw my blackjack? What are these controls? And so they get a whole boring history lesson about the PlayStation from me.
Even though in Japan it's the other way around.
Go on.
I ran into this when I first played Metal Gear Solid. In Japan, traditionally, the circle button, which is in the place of A on the Nintendo Switch and B on Xbox, it's a red circle, that is confirmed. And the blue X is back. But because I guess red is the stop color in America, with 99% of games that they brought over, or I guess that were developed in America for the PlayStation, they switched it, but not Metal Gear Solid, so that really threw me off at first. And
this fills me with an indescribable rage.
Yeah.
Not that it's particularly powerful, but it's just indescribable. I don't even know who or what I'm mad at about this.
Which on hindsight makes sense because that's like the first big console after Nintendo consoles, and that's the same layout as the Super.
Sorry, Sega.
The Super Nintendo. Well, originally the PlayStation was a Nintendo console.
Right.
Yeah. But on the Super Nintendo, Super Famicom, the bottom button was B, as it still is.
Yeah.
And the right button is A. And that mirrors the circle and X situation on PlayStation. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway, video game history lesson over. Oh, you're talking about Tomba. Oh, yeah, the controls are weird.
Yeah.
So that's like in this game, B is jump, and A is your other action.
But in 1985 to be doing that.
Yeah.
what the hell are you doing?
Yeah. You had 2 years of games before that to see what everyone else is doing. What Mario was doing.
They made Challenger and they said, we're going to revolutionize the world.
We're going to have a crazy train at the beginning.
This is the whole pitch of the fucking game to the executives. The B button, that shit makes you jump.
Everyone, hushed tones, turning and looking at each other. Wait. They're grabbing each other's arm. They're jotting things down on their papers.
No, it's the Apple ad. It's with the big face on the screen.
The 1984 ad, throwing the hammer at the screen.
He does so with the A button. Okay.
But he can't touch it with his hand or else he'll get hurt.
Oh my god.
Okay. Can we go to the Tamagotchi?
Yeah.
This shit sucks ass. All right. So they go back to Shinakawa-ku Oimachi in Tokyo.
Oh yes, this is a part 2 of last episode's arcade trip, which my memory is a little foggy, but it's not. That's not generally how they do this.
Yeah. It's typically 1 per.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it seems like they set up at the end of this episode a part 2 for their second.
It did. Yeah, it did.
I just must not remember it. Anyway, we find a Reno still looking for Hang On.
Or really, in all honesty, this time he actually is.
Right.
He just didn't care to. In the last, he got distracted by little kid games.
And he still is here too.
Yeah. Do you notice there's a huge Pikachu like statue?
Yes.
That's cute.
I wonder if it's like if you can ride in it. If it's hollow up top and you sit in it, and I don't know, like a rocket ship outside a grocery store.
Yeah, but it's pretty tall. It looks to be like 5 foot tall.
Well, maybe you can put your kids in it and walk away. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It serves some purpose.
It must. But it is the old fat Pikachu design, which I like.
Yeah, that's cool. And they leave it out in the fucking rain.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, maybe they don't get much rain there.
Pikachu, I would treat you. Fat Pikachu, I would treat you so much better. I would not leave you on the roof. Please come to me.
But anyway, he's there looking for a old Sega motorbike simulation game called Hang On. We talked about a bit in the last episode.
I believe it's the first of its kind.
Yeah, the first with the physical peripheral vehicle that you're using to manipulate the game.
Right, yeah.
I'm sure you can imagine all sorts of stuff like this in arcades. Like you sit and you have a steering wheel, or like a motorbike, you tilt back and forth.
There's a game in the arcade here in town. You're driving and you saw it last time. Somebody was playing it. You do a 360 and you you tail whip the other cars and they explode.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's a realistic racing simulator. And the whole fucking car.
It's pretty violent.
You're physically like shaking like on a roller coaster.
Yeah. I'm more of an Initial D guy myself. That game is so fun. You have to change the gears.
Do they have that there?
Yeah.
They do?
Yeah. I thought I played with you once.
Maybe.
I know what we're doing this weekend.
All right.
Anyway, so he's finding this motorcycle game. Hang On.
Yeah. And he's distracted by all of these win tickets or prizes arcade games.
The first of which he comes across is called Exterminate Oni.
Yes.
And he says, oh, like the Momo legend?
Did you look that up?
I did a little bit of research on this.
Yeah.
It is based on a character called Momotaro, which literally translates to Peach Boy, which is a very, very popular Japanese folk hero.
I'm sorry.
It's funny. It's
okay,
funny.
I'm glad I'm
No,
not,
yeah, Peach Boy is funny. I can't lie.
If somebody called me Peach Boy, I'd fucking piss myself.
I got my laughs out yesterday. But Momotaro Peach Boy, he's a popular folk hero that is dating back as far back as the 1600s in writing.
Oh,
and
wow.
word of mouth probably before that.
Good Lord.
He's very, very old, but he like was born, or he was found as a baby in like a giant peach or something. But he's one of those things everyone knows about.
There's no way this is related to James and the Giant Peach.
I don't know.
Okay.
I didn't see anything about that. But anyway,
it just seems weird to have two giant peaches.
Yeah.
In the canon,
yeah.
yes, but
with people inside, with boys inside them, with peach boys inside them. But one of the things that this kid did was exterminate an Oni, or an ogre, and a demonish ogre. That's what Oni means.
Yeah.
And this game is really quite lame. There's a big Oni with a target on its belly, and another thing to the right. I didn't really get a good look at. Also with the target, and you have little plastic balls, and you're throwing at the target.
Unfortunately, this particular instance of this game is missing
most of the balls. Yeah, so he throws two. Arena throws two, waits for them to roll the way back, and then throws up again and says, "There's not enough balls!" It's very funny.
I really like his genuine excitement for these games. I think that's part of Arena's appeal, and I know I harp on that a lot, but he's really, I think, happy to be there playing these things, or else he's convinced me completely.
Yeah.
I really like to see that. I like to see him playing whack-a-mole, and if you get 30 points, you get a free game, and he gets 29.
Yeah.
That's another classic
example. I was like edge of my seat. I was rooting for him.
That's Arena luck, man.
Yeah, it is.
100%. He does finally find Hang On.
He does.
Yes.
And he just kind of plays it.
Yeah. But in doing so, we have the first appearance of who will become a mainstay for the series.
Abe,
the cameraman.
Yeah.
His backstory is slowly revealed.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, I'm excited.
It's not too deep. Just that he had a different life completely before this one. A little bit of which we see a glimpse here. In that he is pretty proficient at riding a motorcycle.
Oh yeah, he's like races, they said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Areno trades, he takes the camera. And Abe hops on.
He's pointing at
Areno starts filming like a YouTuber.
Yeah.
He points the camera at his face. Gets his hair with a little poof and it's slicked back.
Yeah.
What's his name? From
a YouTuber?
No, it's these old
Wallace and Gromit.
Oh yes, no, it's not Wallace.
Oh man,
the games, the beat 'em up games, and he's in a volleyball game, and they're
Double Dragon.
No, not Double Dragon. It's another one.
River City Rampage.
That one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Something Coon.
Billy and.
No, that's Double Dragon.
Oh crap! Yeah, there's overlap.
The second we stop recording, I'm gonna remember his fucking name.
I know
he has hair like
yes,
Abe.
he does.
Yes, or Abe has hair like him.
Yeah,
I don't know who came first.
You mean it's like a pompadour?
Yes,
like kind of a rockabilly Japanese kind of delinquent style pompadour.
Yes.
Yeah, he does. I didn't even think about that.
And as we learn it, as we go along, it fits him well.
Yeah. That's very funny that rockabilly is huge and or it was in kind of like the high school. Well, that's why they have the pompadours, the delinquent kids. It's because rockabilly caught on hugely over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another win for white people culture.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Moving on.
They say we have nothing.
So he plays Hang On, and it's frankly quite... Oh, yeah, no. Abe's on the... at one point, he gives the camera off to someone else. Abe is on the front of the bike, and he hops on the back and is holding on to him. It's very funny.
I wish I got to see Abe's face there. I'd like to know how well he was tolerating that.
Yeah.
I don't imagine at this point in the series he knows he's going to be there forever, which he ends up being there for a long time. Possibly still, I don't know.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if he's just like, this guy is touching me.
Oh, they did a whole season before. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's a comedian.
Yeah. Anyway, that ends that Tamage trip.
Yeah, pretty short.
And we unfortunately come back to this challenge.
Oh, God. I only have one note about this section, but this section of the challenge.
What happens?
I kind of took note of, I like how earnest he is about the games and the characters. He takes them, so seriously.
Yeah.
And, in of themselves. I wrote for, I should have said this last episode, but for Mystery of Atlantis, he's reading the back of the box, or he's reading the strategy guide or something. It says, you play as an inexperienced adventurer, and he says, "You couldn't have given me an experienced one." And I thought that was cute. And then in Challenger, he says there's a scene where there's multiple parts of the game when you're finding the key items.
Mm-hmm.
Where you're jumping across these raising and lowering spouts of water, and you're using the top of them as platforms. And he says it's like genuine amazement. Oh, this guy's good to be able to stand on the spouts of water. And that just strikes me as just so wholesome.
No, you're right. I hadn't thought about that before. That's another aspect of his appeal. Is his wholesomeness.
Just the earnest.
Yes, it plays really well with, and I'm going to jump ahead just a little bit here to the second arcade trip of the episode when he gets a high score. He's in 7th place, and his initials. He writes SEX, and it's followed by this.
They play a little
moan sound effect.
It's very funny. He's like a little kid.
I laughed really hard at that.
Yeah. I even wrote in my notes, plays a game, gets leaderboard, and names himself Sex, LOL.
What did I write for this part? Let's see. Here's what I wrote. This game, ... is not for me.
Yeah.
Which is actually the nicest thing I think I wrote about this game.
I'm still baffled that you find this game worse than the last one. The last one, I gets under my skin so bad. Mystery of Atlantis.
How about this?
Okay. I accept.
No. I think that Mystery of Atlantis makes more baffling design choices, more design choices that run counter to the player's intuition, to the player having a good experience.
Yeah.
Than Challenger. I think Challenger is a more boring game.
I want to say I agree, but I see where you're coming from. I don't think I can agree just because everything, they say there's 100 levels in Mystery of Atlantis, but they're all so samey. Like, yes. I can't, if I think of the different levels, 2 different, like scenescapes from the game come to mind out of, probably 20 that he ran into in the game.
Okay.
The rest is like, what did it look like? I don't know. It's pillars. It's Mario 3 blocks.
Well, what does Challenger look like, I guess?
I can picture the overworld. I can picture the key rooms. I can picture the train. I can picture the final boss room.
That's it.
Yeah, but it's at least the whole game. Whereas Mystery of Atlantis.
All right.
There's 100 levels.
Other stuff, but it's
I can only picture 2 of them. Yeah.
Okay. I can picture more from Mystery of Atlantis, but what you're saying tracks. What you're saying makes sense to me.
To me, Challenger is it's very brief, and the content of the game is laughable at best, but it's unique.
Yeah.
All the different levels are unique to each other.
Okay.
And the different enemies I can picture them. There's the bunnies.
Yeah.
There's the skeletons. There's the fireballs. You become very acquainted with the fireballs by the end.
There's that special whale you can only spawn through a secret trick.
That didn't look anything like a whale.
I know.
It was black and pink or something.
It gives you a 1-up, and Arena wasted 3 lives trying to get to spawn and kill it.
Yeah.
At the end, he said, "This was not a good use of my time."
Mm-hmm.
All right. I see where you're coming
from.
Yeah. When he jumps too high from a water geyser.
Oh, God.
How did that make you feel?
When he jumped, there was too much of a gap, and your character just dies halfway to the ground.
Uh-huh.
This is some Dark Souls.
He didn't even take fall damage.
No, he just died in the air.
He took falling damage.
It's Dark Souls.
Yeah.
It sucks. It's when they say it's not the fall that'll kill you, it's the impact. This game, the fall will kill you.
Yeah.
It's the most lethal thing in the game. This comes back in the final room of the game.
I don't remember that. I only remember. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Yeah. I wrote for a couple of Arena Y moments after several caves, looking inside several caves, trying to find the key. He finally finds it.
Yeah.
And he,
because the items are randomized.
Right.
Yeah.
He's clearing these geyser jumps effortlessly.
Yeah.
In each of these caves. he gets to the key cave and he fucks it up.
Oh, because the fireball.
And of course he fucks that one up, specifically.
To be fair, the fireball, it was hard. I probably would have made the same mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was just...
He played really good in this game.
This really awkward silence afterwards.
Yeah, you're right.
It made me check if, like, I had lost sound or something.
Yeah.
The laughing
Everyone was just so
guy
disappointed.
was not present.
They were all tired of this game too, I guess.
Shortly after that, he got a game over, which he pronounced Game
Game Obeda.
Obeda.
Yeah. They even put the subtitlers instead of saying game over, they put in all caps Game Obeda.
Yeah. I appreciated that. And that takes us right to our next segment, actually.
Yes, they go to some guy's apartment.
Yes, not just some guy. His name,
Kuboken.
I wrote down. Yes,
Kuboken. Yeah.
Otherwise known as Famicom Complete Man.
Yeah, thank you for writing that down. I didn't bother.
That was my first note. Because, at the top of the episode, the king, he goes through the different segments we're going to see.
Famicom
Complete Man.
I got to be honest, Mr. King did his job, and I was intrigued about what that could possibly mean.
Exactly.
And how that was a whole segment.
Areno introduces this segment in the hallway of an apartment building. He turns to the camera like he's about to surprise somebody.
Chris Hansen.
Yeah, ambush style.
Why don't you show me all these games?
He says, we're going to go meet somebody that has every Famicom cartridge.
Yeah.
Full complete.
Full complete. Does he say that in English or no?
I don't remember.
That'd be great if he did.
Hope so, yeah.
Full complete. So redundant.
I wrote that down too.
That's a tautology alert.
And they go and they meet him and they invite him into what can generously be described as a broom closet. A broom closet at a studio apartment. And what we find is, a hallway of a kitchen, presumably something of a bathroom to the left, and then the room where everything else happens, and which is absolutely filled with, you guessed it, full complete. Every Famicom cartridge, system type, accessory, peripheral.
Did he have Rob?
I didn't see Rob. I didn't see Rob.
I'm sure he did somewhere.
I think it would be. I would be surprised if
Yeah.
He has everything else. He has Metal Slater Glory.
Yeah.
He has.
Spartan Hero-chan.
Spartan X2.
Yes. I never even heard of Spartan X1.
Me either. I guess they did.
Yeah, they were aware.
Reno did.
But I guess we haven't heard of either of the main games of the show. So
no.
What do we know?
Exactly. What was the one that is like the battle racing one? Was that Metal Slater Glory?
No, that was. I feel like we just maybe called Battle Racing.
I think you're right.
Just something. I don't think it was that, but something very simple.
Yeah. I like that. And going back to...
He said it was his favorite game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, going back to what you said about Areno's wholesomeness. He's just sitting there in rapture.
Yeah.
And he's calling out, watch out, watch out!
Yeah. He's so interrupted by someone else playing a Famicom game.
He loves games.
Yeah.
And
the guy's not even saying anything. He's not even being funny.
Yeah.
And that's impressive because that really shows his dedication because, Nintendo / Famicom games were generally pretty boring to watch.
Yeah.
If you're not playing it, you really don't care most of the time.
True.
But yeah, I have a couple notes on this segment. The guy modded a couple of his different Famicoms to be able to use Super Nintendo controllers and to have different video outputs.
That was cool.
Which is like, and he says it's easy, which I don't know if he's showing off or if he's being honest.
I didn't know if it was him trying to be modest or if it was wasn't hard.
He soldered his own parts.
Yeah.
It was impressive. But also, this is a bit of a culture corner within the segment.
These are where all my culture corners come from.
Yeah.
That apartment size, the existence of this guy himself, because he's probably something of a whatchamacallit, Hikikomori.
Yeah, he's got to be
You know,
pretty
he's-
wealthy though.
And then as you said too, last episode about
we said
games
it-
not costing that much over there. These things not costing that much over there. The abundance of these things
Yeah.
over there for sale. Plus his most expensive game
It was $100.
it was 10,000 yen.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. I was shocked. So was Arena.
Frame of reference for the audience. I always use this. I don't know if it's always been this way. That's about the good rule of thumb now is 1 yen is about equivalent to 1 cent USD. So 100 yen, $1, 1,000 yen, $10, etc.
Okay.
So that there's always going to be some variance, but yeah. So he said, like you said, his most expensive game. I don't remember what it was.
It might have been
Was it the Kuro-chan?
Metal Slater, Spartan X.
Maybe.
It all blends together. I feel like he asked those questions a couple times. Like, what's
Yeah.
your rarest one? What's your most expensive
Yeah.
one?
But he says it's 10,000 yen, which is $100, which you pretty dedicated retro game fans will spend that much on like a Game Boy Advance game regularly now, which is kind of crazy. But one of the things they wrote down was he has a game called Kuro-chan, which has a little bird that you play as. It's a little 2D platformer where you play the...
Oh, the coffee bean thing.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I looked that up. Kuro-chan is the mascot of a popular chocolate company in Japan called Morinaga Chocolate.
It was a cocoa bean. Okay.
Yeah. And they make something called, their most popular product is called like Choco Ball or something like that. Choco Ball. And I just think it's funny that they just made a game with this mascot.
Yeah, I forgot about this completely. Areno's playing that game. He's trying it out, and the goal is to climb up the tower.
Mm-hmm.
And fucking Areno, the first thing he does is walk right off the edge
Yep.
and die.
Whoa, I died. You can't stand there? And the guy even points to the screen and says,
Yeah.
this is not the ground. The guy has a big TV too.
Yeah.
That thing is going to be heavy.
Oh,
A
God.
CRT of that size.
Oof, woof. This segment ends.
Mm-hmm.
Next,
Next, go straight to the Tamage, right?
let's see. Yes. Yes. But this segment ends with Areno asking the same question he asks everybody he interviews or meets, which we wouldn't know right now because we skipped season 1, but we usually get some pretty good answers. He asks him, what are games? What are games to you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah.
Games are a part of life, right? Games are life.
Yeah.
And then
the text, yeah. It shows a picture. It says, Kuboken, full complete. Games are life.
Yeah.
It's very...
with that music to the whole.
Yeah. It looks like it's meant to make fun of him badly.
It looks like that.
Like it's someone would make it in a very rude YouTube edit.
Uh-huh.
Loser who stays by home and plays Famicom games says games are life.
I have to choose to believe that.
Now back to my job. Oh, you scared of that word?
I have to believe that it's not as mean spirited as it seems though.
It just comes across that way to our irony poisoned, cynical American minds.
Good Lord. Don't I know it?
But next we go straight to Tamage number 2 for the episode, which I understand is not common.
I wrote 2 arcade visits in one episode? Question mark?
2 game center visits.
Exclamation mark? Oh God, I'll fix
I'm
that
just
in
playing.
post. Let's see.
You can fix that in post.
Oh.
Buddy, I'm post. Wow, that one got you.
It's a good one. All right. We see the origin of what you may or may not realize is his famous business card holder. I forgot it came from the second episode of the
It's
game
famous?
series. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
You see this forever now.
It's a little Nintendo. Is it Nintendo branded?
A little Famicom controller. Yeah. Or it's I don't know.
Is that what he's holding in the freaking Sprite, where he's holding out his hand and there's a little red thing?
Probably.
The cover picture for this very podcast. Take a look.
Kacho on a Game Center CX podcast now, wherever podcasts are
Or at least maybe 3 different
Distributed,
locations.
sold. I don't know. Yeah, yeah. He carries this around forever now.
Wow.
And he's always giving his business card out.
But the way he gets it is pretty funny. So, okay, first I want to introduce this properly. They are in a place called Try Amusement Tower. That's TRY Amusement Tower in Akihabara.
It feels like something out of a Pokemon game.
Yeah, it's a 7-story game center, which I really want to go to if it still is open. Oof. Arcades are sadly dying in Japan. Yeah. What is it? 7-story game center with the top 2 floors being dedicated to retro games, which is a very attractive to a guy like Arino.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but the first thing he tries is there's a bunch of different claw machines and kind of gacha machines.
That first claw machine was such bullshit.
Oh yeah, the UFO catcher
couldn't even fit over the fucking item.
I don't think he tried it in this episode. I think he tried it in the last episode.
Oh well, shit.
But I think he did make a comment. Oh, they have a UFO catcher in this one too.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but I do know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's complete bullshit.
Shit, you're right. It was last episode.
That's okay. But he plays. There's this little. What even is the game where he gets? Oh, it's a pusher. It's a puller. So this is gonna be hard to describe. If you've never seen this game in person, it's very hard to describe. It's a picture, a pretty slow rotating disc, where along the disc, like it's like a CD shape, but it's pretty big, probably 1.5 feet wide. There's different capsules that are laying flat on the surface, and in the middle, there's a big crane arm that when you push the button will slowly swing out towards the player, and ideally as it's pulling towards the player, it'll catch on one of these capsules as it's rotating and drop it into a slot that you then win. Was that an apt description?
Yeah, no, okay. That was dead on, actually.
It's really hard to describe if you've never seen it before, but it's basically that.
Arino apparently doesn't understand how to win, so much so that he calls over one of. Do you remember this? He calls over one of the employees.
He wins.
And he calls over somebody and asks, "How do I beat this?"
Oh game? Yeah. And the guy just said it. You have to time it.
Yeah,
right.
It's just timing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Arino, I guess, takes his advice and realizes, oh, games are about timing. Cool. Wins the game. Doesn't like his prize because he wanted the business card holder. Calls that employee back and says, I wanted that one.
And he just gives him. He swaps them out.
He's a cool guy, yeah. I cannot believe he did that.
Which is kind of, I don't know.
Why, Arino?
I don't know if it's just a lucky streak. It's very funny. It's very Arino.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just a lucky streak, but both this guy and the older lady from the first episode have been very accommodating for him.
Right? I think that's part of...
the culture?
Let me stress. I think, as in I am not the expert.
It's like common conduct over there.
Yeah, I think that's.
I would agree with that.
Yeah,
which makes it even funnier, just kind of how dismissive and almost rude Arino is with these people.
I know, right?
Like, also, I'm recalling now in the earlier Tamage segment in this episode when he's back at the place in Tokyo, Shinakawa Ku Uemachi. He can't find Hang On, so the lady is presumably nowhere near him, and he yells out "Oba-san," which I think is like a term of respect for an older woman.
Yes.
And just hails her over like a taxi. This poor, probably 50-year-old woman on this roof of this department store comes over, and he says, "Do you know where Hang On is?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, it's over here," and takes him right to it. But he's so rude with it.
Garçon.
Oba-san. Hang on.
Okay. My wife is half Japanese. The Japanese side of her family, she has an Oba, which is her grandma.
Oh, okay.
Her grandmother. And so what I'm inferring from this is, Granny, hey.
But it has san, which is a bit more respectful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, yeah, I get what you're saying.
Miss Granny.
Granny, get over here.
Hey, lady.
I kind of appreciate the subtitle team on this one.
Which, if I haven't mentioned at this point, is, again, TV Nihon.
Yeah.
just like the last episode, and as I believe will be for this entire season that we're watching.
That makes sense.
I think I got them all from the same place. So
yeah. They kind of, whenever there's kind of small cultural things like this, like the Obasan thing, they leave it untranslated, but just in Phoenician letters.
Hey, yeah, huh? You're right.
It said Obasan. It didn't say old lady.
Right.
Yeah, or granny or whatever. They kind of they kind of trust your
I appreciate
knowledge
that too,
of the
actually.
Japanese culture. Yeah.
That is cool.
That's kind of how you osmosis your way into knowing a little bit more about the language and the culture.
Right.
You kind of put it together, what he's saying. And how when the Tamage segments start, it says Tamage.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't say, whatever that means, game trip or something. I have no idea what it means, but if anything.
I think you should visit this game center.
You should visit
one
this
day.
game. Yeah. It's very sweet.
Please visit this game center.
I hope people did.
Yeah.
That's all I have for this Tamage.
He plays. I have some more. He plays the game. He gets a score. He puts in sex.
Yep.
I wrote down.
Oh, there's the guy playing.
I'll get to that.
Glacius or whatever. What is, I don't know what it's called.
Xevious.
Oh yeah.
Zevious.
XEVIOS.
They called it. They had a different pronunciation in Japanese. But we know it as Zevious. Before that, he is. Oh no! What I wanted to say was that arcade setup was very Japanese.
All the Astro consoles in a line.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that.
I wish that was something that we could experience. I wish that was something I could fucking do.
Yeah.
Because it's just Dave and freaking Buster over here.
Yeah. You have your walls lined with games and then little islands here and there.
We had an arcade here in town that was kind of cool for a hot minute. It had a little section of like fighting games and like games where you weren't gonna win tickets. You know?
They were all Astro Cabs too.
Yeah,
they had some crazy ones. They had Resident Fighting Game Nerd here. They had Akatsuki Blitzkampf. They had Guilty Gear XX. Not even like newer like Accent Core plus R. They had I think they had Vampire Savior. They had two cabs of that, so people could play that. They had Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Never functional whenever I went. They had Street Fighter Alpha 3. They had like a machine that was combination King of Fighters 13 and Samurai Showdown. Just a lot of
cool shit that you don't really see.
Like this, seeing Akatsuki Blitzkampf. Like, have you heard of that?
No.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Most people that I know who are even into fighting games haven't heard this. This is like a very small Arc System Works game from the mid 2000s, but they had it. For a good few months. They had Project Justice, which is a Capcom's first 3D like Tekken style fighting game.
Cool.
It was a lot of fun. And me and my buddy loved it, and we'd go all the time. And then one time we were there playing it, and one of the employees just came up and said, "Hey, in a week we're getting rid of this, all of these."
Oh my god!
And they did. But anyway, they were all Sega Astro Cabs, which are a lot like the ones that we see in this.
I wonder what he meant by get rid of. I wonder if they're in a warehouse or if they're they're sold or.
I have to imagine the cabs are just sold, or maybe I'm sure it's a corporate thing, or they're sent back to Round One corporate.
Yeah, it's Round One, by the way.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
Our Round One used to be cool.
Used to have Groove Coaster.
Fucking miss Groove Coaster.
I know, me too.
Anyway.
Yeah, back to the show that we're talking about.
I want to visit that game center sometime.
So the Tamage kind of wraps up here.
One more quick thing.
Okay.
He played a game called Saiba Lion.
Is that the dragon thing?
Yes.
Yeah, that was cool.
That looked cool.
Kind of like
Want that
Carry On, and that it's a naturalistic kind of way of controlling.
That sounds familiar.
It's an indie game where you're a disgusting carnage like ball of flesh that eats stuff.
Cool. That is cool. Like a horror Katamari type thing is what it sounds
it's
like.
It's pixel art in 2D, but kind of. It's like a Metroidvania where you're interacting with doors and stuff as this kind of ball. Whatever.
That's awesome.
It's okay. It's not my favorite.
Okay. Well, Cyber Lion looks cool. I wonder if it's Cyber Lion.
It must be,
Yeah.
right? But there's the thing of this guy playing Xevious.
This is my last Arena Y moment, maybe? No, I have a couple after
This is an Arena Y moment for you?
Of course it is, man.
Okay.
So there's this guy. He's got this ridiculously, ludicrously high score in Xevious right now.
I'm thinking we're going to have differing opinions on this, but go on.
Areno is standing about how high his score was?
No.
Okay. Areno is standing behind him, clearly within earshot, like, whoa, I want to ask him to play a life.
Yeah.
You think he'd let
I
me
really
play
want to
a life?
play.
Yeah, exactly.
The guy's basically ignoring him.
Yeah.
His face is blurred out, so he didn't agree to being on TV.
No, he definitely not.
Yeah.
And then after, standing behind him, being like passive about this, kind of like hinting at it within earshot, he just goes up and asks him if he can play a life. And just, no.
Yeah. He has 18 lives built up. But he's.
Are you saying that?
I'm saying
his cup runneth over, and that he should have redistributed the wealth.
Not even that. I'm just saying he should have been nicer and let him play it. 18 lives. He's clearly good enough to get that back.
Right.
I think he should have let him play.
I think so too.
But damn, you'll defend his right to not.
Yes. I would have let him.
Yeah.
I think, take a hint.
Is it just like a random person in an arcade and they're coming up to you playing? Would you let them that?
It was cringe, man.
It was cringe.
Yeah. Sure would be cool to play.
It's very odd that they included that.
Yeah.
In the final show. Okay, so we're back to the challenge, finally. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's really,
This is when
The segments carried this episode.
Yes, they did. At this point in the challenge, Reno is hit a wall.
Oh, yeah.
He's trying to find alternative ways to beat this game. So he finds something that he thinks is going to give him, what is it called? Invincible Challenger. And so he goes back to the very beginning, to the train level, the very beginning of the game.
Yeah.
And he waits for a specific time on the timer, and he throws his weapon a number of times in a certain direction. And he's invincible.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's like a Mario Superstar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It lasts until he gets kicked off the train.
Yeah, which is the end of the level.
Yeah.
About 5 seconds later.
Yes. So back to point one.
Good idea, though.
And then he's chased around that whale we talked about for a while.
Oh, God. No, I thought Sasano did that.
No, that was him.
Okay.
Yeah. They actually put his little picture
Oh,
on the
yeah.
bottom right as he's chasing the whale. But he's not he has no emotion on his face. He's just bored out of his mind.
Mm-hmm.
A real boring ass whale chase. Pointless.
Oh, well.
I did like when he got sucked into the. I should have looked up the translation for this.
Oh,
Ariji Goku?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ariji Goku.
Yeah. He was falling into the sand pit each time.
Just a huge whirlpool.
Right.
With a black square at the middle.
Which I guess this is an Arena Y moment because he really fell into that several times.
I feel like I would have done the same thing. It doesn't look that threatening.
It doesn't. No.
Yeah.
It feels like if
there's
you
no
even
motion
get
to it.
Slightly within its radius.
It's like that one Mario Kart course where you're kind of racing on the skirts of this big sand trap. I don't.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember what it's called, but.
And every time he falls in, it's like, Ariji Goku! Right? Big letters right there. You look at the translation.
Yes. Ariji Goku. Where are you? Yes, the sand pit they called it the Ariji Goku, which is a type of ant.
Whoa.
And that's all it is. I can't see any other reference to it as a sand pit or hazard or anything of the sort.
Incredible.
Right? Very unique.
Yeah.
Ariji Goku.
I wonder what we're missing here.
It might be like a folk legend thing, relating to the ants. Maybe they have an odd shaped anthill or something. I don't know.
You know what's funny? Every time we see words on screen like this, like in the train sequence at the beginning of the game, it says escape.
Yeah.
All right. Or you get kicked off the train. Find the princess. And here we find Ariji Goku,
Yeah, it's just Ariji Goku.
Yeah.
It's not even saying killed by Ariji. It's it's as if The same way a ghost would say boo. The
Right.
sandpit says Ariji Goku. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I wonder if it's like a Yahtzee type deal.
Yeah. I don't know.
Or bingo.
Bingo.
Shortly after that, I believe he reaches the last stage.
Yes. I have a note on these stages real quick.
Yes.
When you enter, they're called zones.
Sure.
The game calls them zones. And it has the number. But I noticed on every single one, the numerical suffix that it assigns is always TH. So it says...
Like Thirth?
Yeah. First zone, second zone, third zone, and then at the end, where we're at now, fourth zone. Very funny.
It'd be funny if they had like forced.
They got it
fucked up
wrong.
the
The
last
only
yeah.
one that would have been right. Yeah.
We are 7 hours into gameplay at this
Really?
point. Yes.
Dang.
Which I wrote down.
Yeah.
Turned the page. Started writing down. Even after 7 hours, he's still messing up the controls.
Yes.
He fucked up the B and the A thing again.
Another thing the narrator's making fun of him for.
Yes.
They say that, I think, word for word. Even after 7 hours, he still presses the wrong button. He does it in the final boss.
Yeah. He's
Unbelievable.
He's a
Which I
real
guess
man.
is the stage. It's just the final stage is this pyramid, and you go in, and it's just a single screen. That's the final boss level. It's really quite underwhelming.
Yeah, honest.
But this is where we have our AD.
AD MVP
Uh-huh.
by technicality, Sasano.
My goat. Sorry, Tojima, I don't know you that well.
You don't know Sasano that well.
I've seen him at least
Okay.
before.
I see him in passing.
Yeah. I follow him on Instagram.
We run in the same groups. It's fine.
Yeah, we're tangentially related.
We're mutuals.
Yeah. He's oomph.
So he does that classic AD thing, and Tojima's not immune from this either. Where he'll start playing a life.
He also bought a strategy guide.
Yes.
That's how they learned about the whale.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go Sasano. And he dies immediately.
Mm-hmm.
This was in quotes.
I can't fault him.
Is it the narrator says, is it a useless, no good AD? Oh no.
They really lay it on thick on poor Sasano.
Which he's not. Sasano's great. However, follow-up question, why did Sasano wait 7 hours to help Arino?
He's shy. This is his first time playing a game. He's working up the courage all day, pacing
know
back and
what?
forth. Oh, I'll go talk to him.
Bid or not, that's probably the right answer.
Yeah. He looks like a shy guy.
He does. Most of these guys do. What did I write next? The Virgin Areno watches as the Chad Sasano beats almost the entire game easily.
Many times. Multiple times. Areno left him with 2 lives.
Yeah,
And he made it to the final stage.
very true.
On his first try, I think.
Let's see. And oh yeah, because he fucking died against Warudardo.
Oh, God. This is another thing that we mentioned earlier. There's a part where you have to jump kind of back and forth between platforms. And in the top right of the screen is the second to last platform, more or less. And he tries to jump down. Yeah, and he, it's maybe half the screen in distance, and he dies half the way down because it's too far of a fall.
Oh my god.
Similar to the water spout incident of earlier.
Fucking A, man. Okay. Well, Sasano plays through the whole game again.
Mm-hmm.
He gets right back where Areno was. Areno says, "Changey." And then
Hands over the controller. They do that like 4 or 5 times.
Eventually, he reads from the strategy guide that to beat Warudardo, he has to throw 4 knives at him consecutively.
Yeah.
He does so.
Which is very weird.
He beats the game. I know, right?
This is also not hard.
And then this is the second consecutive game where the ending sequence is a nothing burger. I think it literally just does the New Game Plus thing of looping back.
Yeah, it just immediately starts the game.
I don't even know if there were credits.
And they're confused. Yeah.
Right. And then, to close out this this gem of a game, this beauty of an episode, Areno, on his new second playthrough, immediately dies to the very first enemy by fucking up the buttons.
Yep. God, it's so good. This time on difficulty 9. So to be fair, it was harder.
Yeah, okay.
It was markedly harder.
I'll give him that. Let's pause.
I'll put him in Kale's room.
Never again. So he's never turned your computer off like that.
He has.
He has?
Just very rarely.
Oh my god. Okay.
106 cat moment.
Classic cat moment.
Okay. What were we talking about?
Games aside, whichever one you like more. Games aside, whichever one you like more, whichever one you don't. Whatever. What do you think was the better episode, this one or the last one?
Better episode, this one for sure.
For this one for sure.
I think
really,
just because, as we've talked about before, I think the game is a little bit better. I liked watching his progression through it more. His learning was much more on display here. I think it was much more clear that he learned than the last game, and I also think all the segments were a lot more fun.
I think the segments in this one are one is, you said, carrying it, but two, much better than in the first episode.
Oh yeah.
I think there's more content.
Mm-hmm. He goes to 3 different locales.
Yeah. Hands out 2 business cards.
Yeah.
Let's see. Was there anything else we need to go through? Let me pour through my notes here.
Pretty unceremonious ending to this episode.
Yeah, and that happens.
Which I guess is a result of the game having an unceremonious ending.
Yeah. No, I really touched on all of it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, I like this episode too. I'm of a different opinion. I think the first one was better. I think it had more of what I look for in an episode.
Right. I could just have recency bias. I watched it more recently.
Oh.
Oh well.
I guess I wanted more Sasano, or I wanted more AD.
Yeah.
I wanted more.
I think you'll work up to it.
A very one-man show. During the challenge.
Oh, and this is a note for the listener. We were recording episode 1, the previous episode, and this episode within the same night.
Back to fucking back, yo.
Yep, knocking them out. So that's why we keep referencing them as sort of a companion piece when they're really not.
No.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that
it's a little inside baseball.
That one Game Center segment.
Yeah.
Part 1 and 2.
It's a nice link.
Yeah. All right. That's all I got.
Yeah, same here.
All right.
Just as ceremonious a podcast ending as the episode ending.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys later.
Bye. Bye.